Most people believe they are in love. They look at the intensity of their emotions, the way they can't stop thinking about someone, the fear of losing them, and they call it love. But Eva Illouz reveals a darker truth. Much of what we call love is not love at all. It is addiction. It is not freedom, but dependency. It is not devotion, but enslavement. Attachment disguises itself as romance. You believe the rush of dopamine when you receive a text, the sinking despair when you are ignored, the obsessive thoughts that keep you awake at night are signs of passion. But they are signs of something else: withdrawal. Just like any addict, you feel euphoria when you get your fix and agony when you don't. The cycle is not about love, it is about craving. Illouz points to a disturbing reality. Our culture romanticizes dependency. Movies, songs, and stories celebrate obsession as if it were proof of love. They tell us that jealousy is passion, that anxiety is intimacy, that suffering is proof of devotion. And so we confuse chains for connection. We confuse addiction for love. But look deeper. True love should expand you, give you space to grow, nurture your individuality. Addiction does the opposite. It shrinks you. It makes you desperate. It makes your sense of worth depend entirely on another person's validation. You are not in love. You are enslaved. Ask yourself, do you love the person, or do you love the relief you feel when your fear of abandonment is temporarily silenced? Do you love them, or do you love the way they soothe the emptiness inside you? If you are honest, you will see that much of what you call love is nothing more than attachment, an emotional debt that chains you to another. Illouz's dark truth is this: when you are addicted to attachment, you don't choose love. You are consumed by it. And like any addiction, it slowly destroys you. Addiction to attachment does not appear suddenly. It is planted in us long before we ever fall in love. From childhood, we learn that safety, comfort, and survival depend on others, on our parents, on their presence, on their approval. When that presence is inconsistent or conditional, the seed of dependency is sown. As adults, we carry that wound forward. We crave security in relationships not because love requires it, but because our inner child never felt it. What we call romance is often just the repetition of this wound. Eva Illouz reveals that modern relationships amplify this vulnerability. In a world of uncertainty and constant change, partners become the anchor we cling to. But when this anchor becomes the sole source of identity and worth, it is no longer love. It is addiction. You cannot breathe without them, cannot imagine life without them, cannot function without their presence. This is not devotion. It is dependency wrapped in the language of passion. How can you recognize this? Look at your fears. If the thought of losing them fills you not with sadness but with terror, you are not in love. You are addicted. If you measure your value by how much attention they give you, you are not in love. You are enslaved. If you feel that without them you are nothing, then you are not experiencing love. You are experiencing withdrawal. Illouz's research exposes how these toxic patterns are reinforced by culture. We celebrate phrases like "I can't live without you," as if they were the height of romance. But what they reveal is not love, it is the death of the self. To make another person the sole source of your identity is not intimacy, it is annihilation. And like any addiction, the cycle is cruel. At first, the highs are intoxicating, the messages, the intimacy, the promises. But soon the lows arrive, the anxiety when they don't respond, the suspicion when they pull away, the panic at the thought of losing them. You become trapped in an endless loop of craving and despair, mistaking this roller coaster for love. Illouz calls this the emotional economy of relationships. Love becomes a market of debts and repayments, where one partner is always in deficit, always desperate, always afraid of being abandoned. But real love cannot survive in such conditions. Because love is freedom, and addiction is slavery. The tragedy of attachment addiction is that it wears the mask of love. From the outside, it looks the same: longing, devotion, desire, sacrifice. But when you look deeper, you see the difference. Real love is expansive. It gives you room to breathe. It allows you to grow into your full self. Addiction is suffocating. It demands all of you and leaves you smaller than before. Eva Illouz draws this line sharply. True love respects individuality, while attachment addiction erases it. In real love, two whole people choose to walk side by side. In addiction, two fractured selves cling to each other out of fear. Love is a choice. Addiction is a compulsion. Love liberates. Addiction enslaves. Think of how addiction feels. The obsessive thoughts, the sleepless nights, the panic when they pull away, the desperation to keep them close at any cost. These are not signs of love. These are symptoms of dependency. Yet our culture romanticizes them, telling us that this suffering proves how deeply we care. But Illouz reminds us that suffering is not proof of love. It is proof of a wound. And here is the darkest truth. When you are addicted to attachment, you are not really loving the other person. You are loving the feeling of being needed, the illusion of being complete, the temporary relief from the emptiness inside. You are not in love with them. You are in love with what they give you, a momentary escape from yourself. This is why these relationships are so destructive. Because when the person pulls away, you collapse. When they leave, you break. Your identity was not your own. It was built on their presence. And when that presence vanishes, so do you. This is not love. It is self-erasure. Illouz's brutal message is that until you confront this truth, you will mistake your chains for passion. You will confuse your desperation for devotion. You will call slavery love, and in doing so, you will never know what love truly is. And if these words cut into you, if you've ever felt that desperation, that suffocating fear of losing someone, then don't stay silent. Act. Break the cycle. Prove that you can move forward without hesitation. Like this video, subscribe, and turn on the bell, because the truths ahead will challenge everything you thought you knew about love. Before we continue, if these truths resonate with you, don't just listen in silence. Subscribe, turn on the bell, and stay with me as we uncover the darkest realities of the human heart. Addiction to attachment feels impossible to escape because it convinces you that without the other person, you are nothing. But this is the lie. Eva Illouz makes it clear. Dependency is not destiny. The same way an addict can learn to live without the drug, you can learn to live without the chains of attachment. The first step is recognizing the difference between love and enslavement. Real love requires freedom. If you cannot survive without them, then it is not love, it is captivity. Love is the choice to be with someone even though you could stand alone. Addiction is the fear that you cannot stand at all. This is why so many confuse attachment with romance. They think intensity equals depth, but intensity without freedom is only desperation. Illouz argues that the key to breaking this cycle is to reclaim your identity. When you are addicted, your sense of self dissolves into the relationship. Your happiness depends on their moods. Your worth depends on their approval. To free yourself, you must rebuild an identity that exists independently of them. Ask yourself, who am I without this person? What do I value? What do I create? What life do I want for myself? This process is painful. It feels like withdrawal. You will crave the familiar highs of their validation. You will ache with the emptiness their absence leaves behind. But in that emptiness, you find something essential. Yourself. The part of you that was buried beneath dependency begins to breathe again. And slowly you realize that what you called love was only fear in disguise. The irony is that when you free yourself from addiction, you finally open the possibility of true love. Because love cannot bloom in chains. Only when you stand as a whole person, capable of saying yes, capable of saying no, can you truly choose another. Until then, you are not choosing. You are clinging. Breaking attachment addiction is not about rejecting relationships. It is about reclaiming your freedom within them. It is about refusing to make another person the center of your existence, and instead, building a self that is strong enough to stand on its own. The chains of attachment are powerful because they don't feel like chains. They feel like love. They feel like passion. They feel like destiny. But Eva Illouz shows us the brutal truth. If your love suffocates you, if it erases your identity, if it leaves you terrified of being alone, it is not love. It is slavery, wrapped in the language of romance. And here is the paradox. Many people will never escape this trap. They will cling to their partners not because they love them, but because they are afraid of themselves. They will confuse obsession with intimacy, jealousy with passion, dependency with devotion. And in doing so, they will live and die without ever knowing what love truly is. But you are different, because you are beginning to see the illusion for what it is. You are beginning to recognize that real love is not a prison, but a choice. It does not erase you, it expands you. It does not chain you, it frees you. And the first step to finding it is breaking your addiction to attachment. Ask yourself, are you truly in love, or are you addicted to the comfort of being needed? Do you love the person, or do you love the way they silence your loneliness? Are you building a relationship, or are you building a cage? The answer is not easy. It requires brutal honesty. It requires you to stand in the emptiness you've been avoiding and discover who you really are without them. But that is the price of freedom. And only when you pay it can you finally experience a love that is real. So don't just hear these words and nod. Act. Reclaim your power. Prove to yourself that you can take one step toward freedom right now. Subscribe, turn on the bell, and stay with me as we uncover the truths most people are too afraid to face. Because if attachment is the chain that enslaves you, then overthinking is the prison that keeps you trapped inside. And in the next video, we will explore Nietzsche's brutal warning about the trap of endless thoughts and why overthinking slowly destroys your life.